Hi, I'm Coco, and this is my presentation on cannabis and its effects on Parkinson's disease. So, Parkinson's is a neurodegenerative disease, which means that it kills neurons and nerve cells. This leads to a bunch of annoying to destructive symptoms such as slower movement, lack of sleep, and depression. But I will get way more into symptoms in a couple later slides. Cannabis is a drug that is known to calm those who use it, and it's thought to have many health benefits. It's related to Parkinson's disease in that there have been a lot of experiments based off of the hypothesis that cannabis relieves Parkinson's symptoms. It's not 100% known or confirmed that it relieves Parkinson's symptoms. I just wanted to clear that up now, but it is likely because of the studies that I'm about to show you and talk about. So one of the symptoms of Parkinson's disease is muscle rigidity, which is very, very painful, and it can lead to more problems like constipation or widely opened eyes, like Michael J. Fox, who, in his struggle with Parkinson's, it's well known that his eyes kind of seem to remain open or very, very wide. That's because of the eye muscles being pretty rigid. Some other symptoms are tremors, bradykinesia, and dyskinesia. Those are the motor skills effects from Parkinson's. It can cause people to drop things a lot, or to shake, or to have trouble feeling like they're in control of their body, which has got to be a really hard feeling. Another big symptom is trouble sleeping, which I will also get more into later, but that can contribute to it being hard for people with Parkinson's to process things, or processing information quickly. And then memory loss is another big symptom. It contributes to the awareness of some people with Parkinson's. So I'm going to get more into the chemistry of Parkinson's disease. Basically, the symptoms that I just talked about are caused by a decrease in dopamine, because Parkinson's is a neurodegenerative disease, which means that the neurons are dying and the synapses aren't working as they should be because of striatal atrophy. So that's what causes the symptoms. And the chemicals that act as medicine in marijuana are D9-tetrahydrocannabinol, also known as THC, or cannabidiol CBD. And both CBD and THC can act as anticonvulsing agents. THC is psychoactive, and CBD reduces THC's psychoactive effects. So CBD can be effective for psychotic symptoms, sleep disorders, anxiety, depression, and inflammation, which is all very, very helpful for people with Parkinson's. And I just thought it was very interesting that CBD kind of balances what THC does, because they are both, it's important to take into account that they are both different medicinally. So if, trying to make a decision of, if you should take THC or CBD to treat Parkinson's, keep in mind that they are different and do have different effects. ECBs, also known as endocannabinoids, are natural cannabinoids in the body, and they can help calm levodopa-induced dyskinesias, and we'll talk about levodopa in a minute. And then here's just a quote I got from Hindawi Limited, which is a source I used. ECBs interact with the endocannabinoid system and aid in regulation of memory, pleasure, concentration, thinking, movement and coordination, sensory and time perception, appetite, and pain. The ECBs activate two guanine, nucleotide binding protein, G protein, coupled cell membrane receptors, consequently named the cannabinoid type 1, CB1, and type 2, CB2 receptors. Basically, animal models illustrate that activation of the CB1 receptor by their endogenous ligands can result in prominent neuroprotective effects and may prevent epileptic seizures. Other studies suggest that activation of CB1 receptors offers neuroprotection against dopaminergic lesion and the development of L-DOPA-induced dyskinesias. Basically, all that means is that natural cannabinoids in the body can help with Parkinson's symptoms, just in the body, not without taking, like without taking anything, can help Parkinson's symptoms and even seizures. And the body, I guess, can naturally help with L-DOPA induced dyskinesias, which is very important because I'm going to talk about levodopa later. Pretty much, we assume a lot of things when talking about Parkinson's disease, and I think it's really important to discuss what we assume just so we know not to do it next time. Levodopa is a drug that facilitates normal dopamine levels. My dad, who has Parkinson's, takes it, and a lot of people with Parkinson's take it. It was shown to relieve the motor aspects of Parkinson's symptoms. That's great, right? But the idea that levodopa will cure Parkinson's is, first of all, untrue. And it's based on the idea that Parkinson's is only a movement disorder, which is also untrue. It's a neurodegenerative disease, and it affects more than just movement of the body, which I've of course talked about a little bit earlier, but I will get way more into. Some people with Parkinson's may also experience depression or loss of memory, which could make it difficult for them to advocate for their needs. The point of that is that, like, it's really not just a movement disorder. It affects so much more of the body because it's a neurodegenerative disease. And it is also assumed that on the other side of the coin, people with Parkinson's are completely helpless and can't function at all, which is also untrue. There are a lot of people with Parkinson's that can move very well and can hold complex and intellectual conversations. I think it's harmful to spread a narrative like that they're incapable of that. So some of that I just said is not true. This is why we shouldn't assume things, especially about Parkinson's. The harmful thing about prescribing a drug for, like, just for an example, depression is that everyone experiences depression differently, and therefore everyone's brains will react differently to the drug. This is a lot like Parkinson's. Prescribing a drug like levodopa at the same dosage to different people with Parkinson's, just because a symptom of Parkinson's is motor impairment, is risky, because some people might have more motor impairment than others, and some people might have more of an issue with the drug than others. It's very important when using any drug to do a lot of research and to consult your doctor and talk about the research you consulted, just to make sure you're on the right footing with it and that you know what you're putting into your body. It is very harmful to spread misinformation for this very reason. And it's not even misinformation that Parkinson's causes motor impairment. It's a fact that it can cause motor impairment. So misinformation would do even more damage than this. So far, CBD and THC aren't confirmed to relieve all of the Parkinson's symptoms, but they are likely to relieve some. And this distinction is very, very, very important. I just thought I'd mention some more misconceptions about Parkinson's very, very quickly. It's not 100% known whether Parkinson's is caused by the environment or if it's hereditary. That is a very important thing to recognize, because, to know about the disease and what drugs to take for it, we're missing some key information here. And that's why I don't think we've really come up with a cure or anything like that. And not every neurologist will prescribe the right medication for you. I think that's kind of explanatory. Not all people with Parkinson's want to undergo surgery or take certain medications due to the repercussions it affects. Some people might say, like, these are horrible symptoms, but there are very easy solutions. Go get surgery, do all these things. And it's like, first of all, not everybody can afford surgery. And second of all, or somebody might say simply, oh, well, just medicinal marijuana, like marijuana will cure everything. And that's not true. It is like a medical marvel in some ways, but it's not the end all be all. And this is a very complex disease. So it's really important to understand very basic things about it, and that everybody with Parkinson's is different. And not all people with Parkinson's are interested in using cannabis to relieve symptoms, especially since it's not 100% confirmed to do so. I cannot stress that enough. It is likely to, alleviate some symptoms, but it is not 100% confirmed to alleviate all. I just thought I'd say that. here's some more evidence and experiments that I'd like to talk about for a sec. And this is from Hindawi Limited. A study with smoked cannabis queried 339 Parkinson's patients indicated that marijuana produced significant improvement of general Parkinson's symptoms in 46% of the patients. 31% of them reported improvement in resting tremor, 38% reported relief from rigidity, 45% defined reduced bradykinesia, and 14% of the patients reported alleviated dyskinesias. So that is very good. Those are really good statistics. Good news, I guess. In one study, Delta 9, which is THC, was found to be neuroprotective and relieved symptoms in an animal experiment. It was also found to be neuroprotective in a cell culture model study done by Parkinson's UK. And this is my dad. This is my interview with my dad. And you can play that on your own time. I'm not going to sit here and watch. I already watched it. But this is an interview with my dad. I think it's pretty informative. He does not currently use any CBD or THC products to help with his Parkinson's, but his take on it, I think, is very interesting. And all the information about, the drugs he takes, everything like that, I think is very, very interesting. And kind of helps with the narrative that people with Parkinson's can make their own decisions about this. How are you doing, Dad?
I'm good, thank you.
Cool. So I'm just going to start off with a couple of questions, answer them as honestly as you can, and let me know if that's all right. Is that cool?
Yeah, sure.
Cool. So what generally comes to mind for you when you think of cannabis and cannabis use?
My teen and 20-year what?
Time period?
Yeah, the time period of the 60s and 70s when I got turned on to marijuana by a friend of mine, and then suddenly everyone was smoking. In like 68, a couple of friends of ours said, take a ride with us, one of this cool place. He says, and it was my friend Jay who was with me. And we all said, is it cool to smoke there? I said, sure. And they take us, and it's a golf course. Mm-hmm. And I was standing on a green in the golf course. And so Jay and I walk over to the trees and light up. And then a cop comes out, flashing his light, and our friends are going, and then we turn and see it. But he puts his light on us and said, all right, you guys come here, whatever he said, I can't remember. And so we walked over him, and we spent the night in jail together.
In jail?
Yeah, it was, yeah.
Wow.
That's what I think of when you say
weed and cannabis.
Oh, this is for publication, huh?
No, it's just a project. No worries. No, it's fine. It's honest. What are some of the symptoms of Parkinson's that you know of, including the ones that you have?
Tremors, dizziness. That could be a side effect of the medication, dizziness, I think. Mm-hmm. But definitely tremors and being stiff sometimes, stiff mood.
Right.
And feeling like you're not in control. Not in control, but that your body feels awkward.
Right.
That's really the main feeling, I think.
Okay. And how have those affected your life and your function in your daily life, I guess? Have those
symptoms?
Mm-hmm.
Well, I was taking medication as soon as I got diagnosed. So they helped me with the tremors are practically gone now. Mm-hmm. I'm on my medication for many years.
Right.
But so the tremors are practically gone. The stiffness is still a problem, but
Right.
it helps. It helps it. It doesn't get rid of it, but it helps.
Cool.
And what else? What else did I say? Tremors, lightheadedness. Yeah,
Mhm.
that's I think a side effect of the drugs
Right.
that I'm taking.
Right.
So a lot of the neurologist not only treats the Parkinson's with um, dopamine pills, and that's also complicated because dopamine has to be carried, sort of transported to the brain with this, they call it levodopa, carbidopa.
Mhm.
And so the first one is to help the other one get to the brain so it can do its.
Sure.
So yeah. So since I was taking that, uh, I'm, it, I'm not fine, but I feel a lot better. Certainly controlling most of those symptoms.
Cool. But you would say the symptoms without the drug have made your life a lot harder to deal with. I don't want to put words in your mouth, but
I haven't been without the drug.
right.
Like I said, as soon as I was diagnosed, but they gave me some drug that wasn't really, I think it was not approved or something about it. It was, there was some sort of trouble with the drug, the first drug. So then I switched to what basically what I've been taking ever since.
Mhm.
You don't need the names of these drugs.
I'll probably ask.
Mhm.
Okay. Yeah, I do remember trouble sleeping sometimes and
Oh,
problems with
That's
memory.
That's a side effect.
Mhm.
I'm actually, living the dream, like I'm dreaming, and all of a sudden I'm doing the dreaming, and I'm still asleep.
Right.
And like a couple of times, I threw myself out of bed by throwing a punch in my dream, and found myself on the floor.
Right.
A few times that happened. A lot of times I yell. I don't think I'm doing it now because I think this new doctor gave me a medication that seems to have helped.
Mhm.
But I used to just scream out in the middle of the night, when I was asleep. I woke myself up by yelling.
Right.
That's kind of strange also, but those are side effects, I think, of the dopamine drug.
Just talking about the Parkinson's itself for a second. Why do you think you have this disease? Is it hereditary in your family or certain event or anything?
Yeah, well, I don't think it's hereditary. But there was no data to support that, I think. But from what I've read, there is some or maybe a doctor said it, and I can't remember, but there is some correlation between like having had a head injury
Mm.
and Parkinson's. It could come out later. Because when I was in junior high school, the first thing you do when you get to junior high school is the gym teacher says, never jump down that staircase. No flight. It's because there's a low hanging ceiling.
Yeah.
And you're gonna hit your head on it.
Yeah.
Of course, I did that. I was an SP kid too. The guy's holding my where the cut is, and he's saying, "This is an SP kid." You believe that? So that may have contributed.
Mm.
I also played a lot of football. And they always tell you when you're tackling someone, put your head down into it. I did.
Yeah.
I don't think I got an injury, but it didn't help.
Yeah.
I'm sure. Yeah, but there was one guy that I played with he got a head injury, a concussion, I think. We were at halftime. He said, "What's the score? Did we win?"
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And so can be football.
Part of it.
Different.
I
I'm
do.
also, I'm sorry, also playing basketball a couple of times. I got hit on going up for a rebound and someone throws an elbow or,
Yeah.
you know, got hit here, a couple of places. Jackie, my wife, has seen me, your mom,
Yeah.
has, has seen me covered with blood more than once, I
Yeah.
think.
Basketball.
Yeah.
Yeah. We thought for a long time that it was 9/11. Like, cause you
Oh,
were,
yeah, it could be. I don't know. I mean, because the timing. I mean, I was diagnosed with prostate cancer
Mm,
and Parkinson's in the same year,
right.
2007. So to me, I mean, that's some part, but they haven't yet found any correlation, I think, that stands out about Parkinson's. Like, I don't think there's been a sudden boost in Parkinson's, you know, among people who worked or lived down there
Right.
or first responders.
Yeah. We it's a theory though. It is a theory that
My theory.
it's your theory that right, because you were there on 9/11 because you worked there and you're standing there for like however long, 5 hours, just caught in the smoke and all the chemicals.
Well, that might have been a small part of it, but I think more if there is a correlation, it's for because I know other people who work down there with me who had different kinds of illnesses that was
Afterwards.
lung illnesses and things like that that could be directly attributable to
Right.
the burning that the towers burnt, you know, it was still burning from the fuel
Right.
on the airplanes after they were there for like 6 months or something.
Right.
Yeah, and they were saying, "Oh, it's clear to live." What's her name? Mom cites this all the time.
Oh yeah. Christy Todd Whitman, she says.
She was with the environmental EPA, I think. She's the head, I think, of the EPA. And she comes out and says, "Oh, the air here is fine to breathe." I've heard since that she regrets it, obviously, and she said she was just misled.
Yeah.
But that was, I think, if any correlation,
It's that.
it's
Well, yeah. If you're there for like as soon as it happens, and then 5 hours later you're still standing there in the smoke, people can't go out.
Working, you smell it every day.
Yeah.
Everyone downtown, from Canal to the Battery, had that smoke, that smell of smoke. You know, it was like not. How do I describe it? It was not like smoke from a wood fire, smoke from like asbestos or something.
Yeah. Chemical.
Yeah, definitely.
I think that could definitely be a correlation because like you were there immediately after and it wasn't safe to go months later. So
that's right. Could be, but there's no scientific correlation that I've seen. So,
but it could not be hereditary, so who knows?
Yeah, I don't think anyone thinks it's hereditary. I haven't read anything like that. Maybe there is, but I don't think there's enough information.
Yeah. At least not information for you either. Like we don't know.
Yeah.
Cool. I hear your alarm, which is funny for your drugs. I was just going to ask you, what drugs are you taking? You could go get them.
Yeah, we'll take a break. Short break.
A short break. Okay. Yeah, I was just gonna ask, what drugs are you currently taking? And could you show them to us, which they're right here? Oh, come. Or wait one sec. I don't think I can move.
Should I just read them off for you?
Where are they? Do you want me to take them real quick?
What?
Do you want me to take them from the cabinet real quick?
Take them out of the cabinet?
Yeah.
Okay.
I can help if you need. Do you need help?
No, I don't think so. That's it.
You don't need to take all of them. May take some too.
Um, so. These two are the main ones. There's
Show
this-
the camera if you want.
Mhm.
Or me, whatever.
Yeah, but it's the only difference is the dosage.
Mm.
This is 195, this is 95. And this is the dopamine part, this is the effective part. And these are- yeah,
That you were talking about before.
yeah.
Mhm.
Exactly. So that's why there are two sizes and you know, refines the dosage as we go.
Right, that's
So,
smart.
yeah.
And
And then this is sertraline. Sertraline, no, this is not cinnamon. Yeah, this is just, what was the generic name for this? You know, it's a
Citrulline.
depression.
Because the dopamine is down and that could cause depression. Is that why?
Well, just having Parkinson's can cause depression. I can't remember. Jack, do you remember the generic name for sertraline? Oh, okay. Sertraline. I thought it was,
A different one.
isn't it? Or maybe this is the generic name of what? Zoloft. That's right. That's what I was trying to get at. Because people know about Zoloft.
Right. Oh, I do know about it. It's an antidepressant. Right?
Mhm.
Yeah.
Pregabalin? Pregabalin. Okay, well, that's my one. How many? Oh, one capsule. 7.
Mm.
Is
Every day,
pregabalin one of them?
yes.
Okay.
Cool.
Mom does all the arranging of this stuff.
She
like
arranges
this.
all the pills.
Yeah. This is a different version of those. So this,
Levodopa?
yeah. This is the one I take right in the morning,
Mhm.
chew it, swallow it.
Mm.
Because that gives me my first boost of medication.
Mm.
And this is also called cinnamon.
Mm.
I don't know why it's so important for you. Yeah. Mirtazapine, I take this. I think 1.5. Yeah, 1.5 every time. My last dose of the day.
Mm. What's this thing?
Oh, amantadine. I think that helps with my dyskinesia, which is, you know, how should I put it? Non-intentional, involuntary motions.
Right.
Yeah.
Cool. I was just
So
gonna
that's
say.
like, I think that this helps me not to, I haven't had an episode in a long time at night, you know, waking up at night and doing whatever.
Yeah.
And so I think I think that's the purpose of this drug.
Cool. Yeah, I was just gonna say, how do they help you? But I think you covered that, so that's good. I was gonna say, are there any side effects that you know of to the drugs, or any of them? You don't have to say all of them, but any that come to mind.
Well, I used to take some drugs. I can't remember which ones, but there was Cinnamantadine. Jack,
Yeah.
do you remember which drug that Decker stopped me from taking as soon as we came to him?
No.
Yeah, well, it was something.
Mm.
Would it be on the schedule? Oh, Casapine?
No, we're still taking it. Go around the right. Left, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Rotari doesn't sound. Oh,
Down.
don't answer.
Yeah. Well,
Someone's at the door. Brief intermission.
sorry.
No, it's okay.
So, yeah, there was also, the first one was just gave me medication that she shouldn't have.
Right.
And so that was interesting.
That was Mirapex, apparently. But yeah, so you do have experience with drugs that you shouldn't have been prescribed because of bad side effects. And
Yeah, I think that drug was known to have been whatever it was. I don't remember what effects it had on me.
Mhm.
I'm not sure, but whatever they weren't good because there were drug warnings
Right.
about that, whatever it was that I was taking.
Relaying into that, I guess, or relating to that, how has your experience been regarding getting help from doctors or therapists, physical therapists, dermatologists? Have any of them done the wrong thing, or do you just any experience that you have in mind of them doing the right or the wrong thing? Also, do you get the sense that you're being prescribed now what is best for you?
I think so, as far as much as humanly possible, you know. I feel like I feel okay usually, you know. I don't know. Mom might disagree with that. I don't know, but you're interviewing me, so. What was the question again?
It's what's your experience with any doctors, physical
Oh, yeah,
therapists?
yeah. Well, I had a good doctor before this one, but at the end of our appointments with them, we just couldn't get any information from them or to them because his secretary, it was like an obstruction. She finally got so bad that we had to leave. So I went to this new doctor who seems to be very, you know, lines of communication are open.
Cool.
And he's amenable for anything. Cool. And he actually helped with that, you know, sleepwalking, I guess we can call it. Sleep fighting would be more. And he took me off that drug. He's the one who took me off that drug that helped me stop that insane nightmares. Other than that, well, I already mentioned that first one with the Mirapex. It was bad. But I think other than that, there's one thing. I had a bowel. I forget the term.
Surgery. It's just surgery.
Yeah, surgery. And you know the pain. I had a lot of pain there. It was excruciating, and it would last for a few minutes and then go away. I'd be on the floor from the pain, and I remember being an ambulance came, took me to Lawrence Hospital in Bronxville. And I remember sitting in some, I don't know what room it was, somewhere, lots of people there. And this guy, who I don't know, comes over to me and says, "Don't worry, I know what we're going to have to do. You know, what has to be done. We're going to take good care of you."
Mhm.
Which scared me. But this guy looked like it was scary.
Yeah.
Can't do a good correlation,
Kind
but
of dark energy.
yeah. But he came. He said, "We know what we're going to do. We know what you need," and they did. They did. Yeah. What was scary about it is I had a colonoscopy the day before, and after it, they said, "You better go get this operation today because this is going to happen again
Right.
if you don't."
Right.
And I did, and I've been fine since. Yeah, I wish I could remember the name of the problem.
It's okay. You described it though, so that was good. But what you're saying that's a side effect of the drugs, or just a symptom of Parkinson's, or
That whole
that
bowel
whole
thing.
situation? Yeah.
Yeah, well, Parkinson's tends to cause constipation,
Mhm.
pretty bad constipation.
Right.
And I guess maybe that caused the problem for
Right.
me.
That's probably, yeah. That's probably. I was thinking that's Parkinson's because I know one of the biggest symptoms is muscle rigidity.
And the reason I bring it up is because my neurologist at that time couldn't diagnose it. She knew I was having pain, and she didn't diagnose it right. So
That's a bad experience with the neurologist then.
yeah, she was screwed up. But
Yeah.
I won't say any names.
No, they're not going to look them up. Cool. And speaking of neurologists, what has your neurologist said, if anything, about cannabis use to relieve Parkinson's symptoms?
Nothing.
Nothing at all?
No.
And you're not currently taking it, right? You're not currently using CBD for it?
No.
Okay. I am just going to read you some of the symptoms of Parkinson's that CBD likely relieves based on a lot of studies that I'm going to link in a different slide.
CBD?
Yeah.
What is this?
Like cannabinoids, cannabis oil, stuff like that.
So cannabis drugs or something?
Yeah, it's I don't know particularly the oil, but the CBD itself likely relieves some Parkinson's symptoms based on a lot of studies.
What is CBD short for? Cannabis.
I'm not sure. I think I have like that acronym defined in a different slide, but I'm not entirely sure yet.
Okay. Look it up when we're done.
Yeah, I can send you some of the links of the information that I have from this. I just read those a while ago, so I have to reread them and finish the presentation. But for now,
I'm sorry.
no, it's okay. For now, here are the symptoms that CBD likely relieves. The three top ones, apparently. Bradykinesia, which is a type of dyskinesia, muscle rigidity, and tremors.
Well, the muscle rigidity one, that would be good if that really helped.
Yeah.
The two are pretty, the tremors are pretty much under control now.
Right. But then if you were to take, like, let's say, because I'll show you some of the links later, but let's say it helps you if you were to take it, and it would help you with muscle rigidity and tremors. Maybe you would not have to take one of these drugs if you were to do that. But that's just, I'm not influencing you. But those are the three symptoms that CBD likely relieves. Based on this, I mean, you already kind of answered this, but do you think it would do a lot of help for you, or just mostly for muscle rigidity if anything.
Well, that would be good. Yeah. Muscle, if it could ease my rigid muscles, I would feel a lot better.
Right.
That'd be good. Another thing that, a big event for me was
Oh, yeah.
I had a
Brain surgery.
deep brain surgery. Yeah, deep brain stimulus. They put a little wire down there and stimulate a certain particular area of my brain, which helps with dyskinesia, I think, and maybe also some of the main symptoms of Parkinson's.
Yeah. I remember.
I don't know if you're having these two, it's like two stoppers.
Yeah.
Like in the drain.
Yeah.
That's what it feels like.
In your head.
Yeah, and then this got this wire.
Yeah.
It's not always comfortable or attractive.
Right.
But too bad.
Right. I would say if CBD is if there's more information coming out about it, helping people with Parkinson's, it's probably also more cost effective than surgery, because a lot of people with Parkinson's can't afford it, or it's not in their insurance or something, and or the candidate. Yeah, because brain surgery is a lot. I mean, you had kind of a seizure after the surgery.
I did. I had a seizure. It was brief.
Yeah. It was a seizure, my mom said. Yeah.
It was, yeah, but that was directly caused by the operation. Yeah, of course. You put a wire into, you cut open the skull and put a wire into anyone's brain, and they're gonna have some effect. Yeah, something. Yeah. I was lucky. I think I only had a brief. It's like I think Mom told me 15 seconds or something.
Yeah.
Maybe longer. I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
Weird. I was like, apparently I was somewhere else.
Yeah.
You know?
First.
You were there, right?
No.
You weren't here?
No.
Oh. Yeah, it happened July,
Yeah.
July 3rd or something.
Something like that.
but yeah, I remember that. I definitely think CBD, based on this information, if it becomes more likely, it could help or be a good candidate, at least, if not for you, for other people with Parkinson's.
Other studies done?
Yeah, there are. I'll send you the links. I'll send them to you right after this.
Right.
And lastly, what would you like people to know about your experience with Parkinson's?
Pretty much everything we've been talking about is Parkinson's. And, people who have Parkinson's, I would say just take the medication in the right dosage at the right time, figure out what that is. And if you're a candidate for the deep brain stimulation, that would be a good thing. And what else? I don't know. It's not fun. It's not anything I would want to have, but it's not the worst thing in the world. Let's put it that way.
Cool.
And what would you like people to know about your life in general, disregarding Parkinson's?
That would be tough, but I don't know how to just try to know it. Parkinson's is immersed in it for like several years now. It's hard. But okay, before that, what I want people to know, I don't know. I don't know what, how free. Your question, I know it's talking about before I was diagnosed. I had no idea.
It doesn't necessarily have to be before, just things about you aside from the Parkinson's.
Yeah, well, of my music. It hasn't stopped. I would think Parkinson's might stop one from playing, but it may be affecting the quality of my playing. But I still write songs and compose music and play piano. So, you can do it. Maybe not as good as if you didn't have Parkinson's, but you can.
Basically, after the interview with my dad, I sat down and I did a lot of reflecting. Just because I already knew a lot about his struggle with Parkinson's. I knew a lot of things about it, but I think a lot more was highlighted in this video than I thought would be, I suppose. My dad is a 70-year-old man from New York City. He has Parkinson's disease. I decided to interview him because I wanted to see his take on cannabis and how he felt about people with Parkinson's using it. I found it to be very interesting, watching, especially watching it back, seeing how much I knew about it and how I was so passionate to do this presentation. Everything that made me passionate about this presentation was kind of in this video. You'll see that a lot of the drugs he takes only pertain to motor function, like levodopa. You might notice him getting a little bit off topic and then coming back in, or taking only a second, like taking a second to reply. That's part of the processing. You might also notice how many drugs he has and how expensive they must be, which they are, and how hard it is for him to keep track of them. You will notice he'll keep asking my mom, like, information about them, information about what they're called. And, he mentions that she packs all of them, and I've watched her for years pack the little, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday thing with his drugs. She knows all about them. She's gone to a lot of seminars with him, yes, but she's also gone to a lot of neurologist meetings with him just to help advocate for him. He also mentions that he got brain surgery, which was very, very expensive as well, as he was not covered by insurance for it, which is a whole other issue. Anyway, there is a point to this related to, different neurologists have prescribed him different things. Some of them prescribe him the wrong things, either because it's easier or cheaper to do so, or for whatever messed up reason. Take, for example, his experience with Mirapex. He talks about Mirapex and how he was prescribed that and it did not have good effects for him. And like, yes, it's important to try them out and just to know for sure if it's good for you or not. But it's also kind of dangerous to mess around with drugs in that way. And the neurologist really wasn't taking good care. He also states that the secretary of his last neurologist wouldn't answer when he would call. It was all the time. My parents have talked to me about this. They would call all the time, and the secretary would not respond or would not let them talk to the neurologist. His neurologist also knew he was in pain once when that whole bowel movement episode happened because of the muscle rigidity, and didn't diagnose it. So that's why it got that bad and he had to end up going to the hospital because the neurologist didn't diagnose it. I'm not just going on a tangent about neurologists. There is a point. My mom would advocate for him, everything like that. But just the point is, keep in mind that not all people with Parkinson's have somebody that is going to advocate for them and have somebody that is going to help them when a neurologist won't respond, because that is a little bit common. They're doctors, they're humans. Sometimes they won't respond, or sometimes they'll do biased things like prescribe medication because it's easier, like prescribe medication that they don't entirely believe would be helpful. They just want to try it out because it's healthy. I mean, it's easier for them or cheaper for them. So I think people, not everybody has people like that, and those people are at risk for treatment like that, for bad treatment like that. And I think the use of CBD would at least, or THC would at least probably alleviate some of that, just because it'll just take some of the risk away from all of this if we are to come to some very, like, we already have substantial data, but if we are to come to like 100% a conclusion that THC does this or CBD does this, I think that definitely would alleviate this risk. But yeah, in conclusion, to conclude all this, I wanted to make this presentation because I wanted people to be educated on it. I wanted to be more educated on it. I wanted to educate my parents on it, because, I mean, my parents were already attending seminars and stuff, but aside from the point, any information helps, because the more information spread around as opposed to misinformation, the clearer the communication between patients and doctors, and the better for the well-being of patients with Parkinson's disease. And time will tell if cannabis becomes 100% confirmed to alleviate all Parkinson's symptoms, or some, or whatever. But for now, it's best for all of us to just do research and for Parkinson's patients to consult their doctors based on the reliable information they find. I have taken the liberty of using this information in this presentation with the hope that it'll help people. Knowledge is power, and knowing what we know and don't know is a surefire way for people with Parkinson's to gain even more power in making their own decisions regarding this disease and to be in good health. So, yeah. And just lastly, here are my works cited. I think these were all pretty good articles / YouTube videos that I consulted. And they're very, very informative. I got the first one from the Gale Academic One File. And the second one, Gale Academic One File, I think that was the one that goes more in depth about it. The first one is like talking about CBD and its effects on like all these different types of diseases, and Parkinson's has this like little excerpt about it, which was very informative. But the second one, I'm pretty sure, was dedicated to all of it. Yeah, so those were very interesting to read. Second one's pretty extensive. And the third One File, Gale Academic One File resource was just it was kind of short, but it was very informative as well, mostly talking about symptoms and easing symptoms and whatnot. The first YouTube video on Parkinson's UK talks a lot about the studies that they did personally, and the results of those studies. And then McMaster University did the last YouTube video that I've linked here. And that was just it was kind of like an infographic. It was very informative in the beginning, and then kind of talked about some of the symptoms and the symptoms it relieves. But in the beginning, it was also just talking about what is Parkinson's, what is CBD, kind of what I started first in this presentation. So I found them all to be very informative, and you should definitely check them out if you have the time. Thank you, and I shall see you soon.